So we've gone through the process of defining the assets, documenting, improving process. We've done the same for contacts throughout the organization and vendors. So what comes next?
So now we're going to deploy software tools that are going to help us manage the environment. They're going to help us continue to do that discovery. We'll start with how that works. We use RMM tools that are SaaS-based. So RMM stands for Remote Monitoring and Management. It's a piece of software that's cloud-based. It uses agents that we install within the environment to do various things. Hardware asset inventory, hardware asset management, system patching. Monitoring is one of the key elements of it. So it's going to monitor all of the telemetry that's going on inside that piece of hardware. So things like CPU utilization, RAM utilization, disk space utilization, the health of all the hardware in the machine as it can pull it out of the machine's diagnostics tools. So the RMM tool goes in, it's multi-tenant, of course, here. So every one of our customers resides in this environment, but because it's multi-tenant, it silos out each customer, and each customer's data is isolated and secure. It can reach through firewalls into the network environment and as well into your SaaS environments. So we're going to do things on these external firewalls where we're going to start to monitor, we'll say the ISP link. You'll have a firewall here that sits on the outside of the network. And this is true for every branch office that you have, data center that you have, all those things. One of the things we do a little differently is we monitor all the way out to the first hop on the customer's network of the ISP. Hopefully there's multiple ISPs. But what that does for us is it tells us whether the problem resides with this device or whether the ISP has an outage. Ability to diagnose faster for us is really the value prop, because we know, let's go reach out to the carrier here instead of we're going to dispatch somebody out or call the technical point of contact at the site to verify that the equipment's online. We know that it's down at that first hop. That's a carrier outage. So as you know, in our network operations center, we support tens of thousands of network elements and circuits from telecom service providers. And by doing this, it helps us with that first set of triage tremendously.
One of the core benefits of Netrio at its core and its founding being a outsourced NOC for service providers, that gives us a leg up in being able to troubleshoot way quicker.
Yeah, and that's something that we do that's a little bit unique. I haven't seen it in any other industry. When I mention it at trade shows or amongst my peers, everyone's like, wow, that's a really good idea. It's one of those things that's a very simple approach towards that proactive management, but it makes a ton of sense.
Sure.
So we're defining these customers inside our multi-tenant environment. Okay, we'll say customer A, customer B, customer C. And we're keeping all of these customers data isolated, right? And from a management perspective, our agents within our managed IT services organization can go view these independently or these in a big single pane of glass. So what I'm drawing here is kind of the single pane of glass that they use to operate on a daily basis. So this is displayed inside our NOC. So it's up on the wall, one of the monitors that's there. They also use it on one of their PC screens. And it's basically relaying the telemetry out of these sensors that are deployed in this department. So we'll put a sensor here in the SaaS environment. We'll put a sensor here on a mobile device. We'll put a sensor here on a desktop computer. We'll put a sensor on all these assets within the branch office, right? The WAPs, the printer, the conference room peripherals, every one of these LAN switches, right? We're going to monitor all of that gear, and then we're rolling it up back to our RMM provider in the cloud. And then our RMM provider is drawing us a picture of what all that looks like within the customer's environment. So think about it like a grid. So what you see is, each one of those customers' assets are depicted inside these grids, right? And when you have an asset that goes down, it's going to show up red. So what happens when it shows up red is it's going to alert our managed IT services group by way of creating an incident within our incident management system. They'll see the visual. We're surveillance on the TV on the alarms. Then they see it pop into the queue as a tier 1 issue that a device is down.
That's all built in advance during the onboarding process.
Correct.
So that when it goes live,
we're ready to support it. So, in a normal course of a day, most of these are green. These assets are online. You may have a few that are in orange state. We'll call that degraded, right? So this system may not be down, but let's say it's a file server that is running out of disk space. Well, if it runs out of disk space, it's going to be down. But if we proactively go address that and get it from orange state back to green by clearing up disk space, we've prevented an outage. Inside of our RMM tool, we say we're defining specific thresholds to say, alert us when these systems get to 90% of disk consumption or stay at 95% of CPU utilization for longer than 3 minutes. So we can globally define policies about how to run multiple organizations. And then once we go deploy the RMM tool, they inherit all those policies that we've applied as part of our best practices. So that's really step 3 in the deployment process, is deployment of the RMM tools. Some of those are focused on the network outside the firewall. Majority are focused, on SaaS environments, Office 365, Salesforce, Workday, whatever you're using, and then the LAN environment inside your offices.